speaker to begin. Thank you.
All right. So good afternoon to all the people who are participating in that. In the last lecture, I was talking about the basics of micro irrigation, especially drip irrigation. It's a technology which has been accepted in India, and scores of farmers have adopted it. Even very small farmers who may not, one may think that won't take any technological advancement, which actually has benefited mostly small farmers. Farmers, one would think that they don't move away from their traditions, but such farmers have actually accepted the technology. Today, I will be talking about how this micro irrigation helped, not only by virtue of micro irrigation physical process alone, but along with that, the technically qualified people working in those companies try to change the way the crop is managed, starting from soil, land preparation, soil preparation, and different add-on technologies were brought in. And then it gave a good opportunity in both horticulture and agriculture to harvest yields which are close to the potential yield of the crops. Usually with whatever technology we use it, when a farmer grows a crop, he is only getting a fraction of the potential yield of the crop. But with these advent of the micro irrigation and technologies associated with it, as I keep on giving you examples, you will understand what I'm talking about. The idea of crop growing has changed, and the practices have changed, and a lot of other factors have entered into to prepare the crop cultivation packages. And in this respect, we can say that the micro irrigation technology per se acted as a catalyst, because for most of these packages which is newly developed and farmers have accepted, micro irrigation is the starting point, because some of these packages can be done only if there is micro irrigation accepted by the farmer for a method of irrigation. So today I will be restricting the presentation on certain crops which have become very high earning crops for the farmers by adopting packages of practices which are modified by us. I've been working on this for last 30-35 years on this. And all these technologies which I'm going to present to you on the crop are, I was part of the team, the leader of the team for developing those technologies. So I'm well versed in those things. Let us go ahead. Not advance the slide. Got stuck. Okay, so let us start with saying agriculture not only gives riches to a nation, but is the only riches she can call her own, because the land, the soil, and the environment with the available crops we are managing. And this business of agriculture is very unique. Now, first I had to talk about what agronomy means, because it is in agronomy, a lot of changes have happened with the advent of micro irrigation adoption. It's a branch of agriculture that deals with field crop protection. That's what agronomy is, field crop protection. And it involves management of soil, crop, and to some extent the environment. We cannot change the environment. If there is extreme heat, we cannot do anything about it, but we can apply some sprinkler irrigation and reduce the effect of heat. So we can, to some extent, we can manage the environment. Favoring the crop, to favor the crop. Agronomic research focuses on a variety of factors affecting crop protection. Which are these factors which affect crop protection? Varieties, crop varieties, you can change variety. Crop geometry, the spacing, which you can change. Land and soil surface management, you can have flat sowing or on bed and furrow or on ridge and furrow sowing. Different methods. These are the land and soil management. And you can add organic carbon into the soil before you plant anything. Or you can mulch the soil after planting or before planting, whatever. And then the management of pest and weed management. Pests are diseases and insects, of course. Then also study the sensitivity to factors such as climate and soil, and ultimately yield or productivity and quality of produce. That's what it is. We have to increase ultimately the yield, and it's also called productivity. Sometimes, and most of the times, because we are producing food, so quality is important. We have to change sometimes some of the combinations of agronomy, and the changes we make in the cultivation package will give you high quality food, high quality produce, fruits, vegetables, or seeds. Agronomists also utilize ecological principles to conserve and protect the environment and from the negative effects of agriculture. Agriculture has got certain negative effects. Agriculture actually is affected by climate change. Similarly, agriculture induces climate change, rapid climate change. So agronomists also try to reduce that effect. That's what it is. Now, this is common. Last time also I presented this slide just to make sure that the progress of technology, especially irrigation technology, how from just spreading water on the land, it's called flooding, and then the furrow, then of course drip irrigation, which then the surface drip and the subsurface drip irrigation. Now, the ultimate thing which we have right now is the drip irrigation. There are different models. I'll talk about it. We have drip irrigation technology is the ultimate in applying irrigation water and fertilizer to the soil as of now. It can change later. Drip irrigation reduces water consumption. That's why we have a term called more crop per drop, coined by Jain Irrigation some 40 years back. Drip irrigation improves fertilizer use efficiency. Irrigation enhances yield and conserves electric power or diesel power use. And productivity increases with a lesser and more efficient use of resources. That's the net result. Resources are water, fertilizer, soil, pesticide, and power, etc. And including labor. Labor is a resource. This would be the crux for the future green revolution and food security. Now, we know that drip irrigation technologies work efficiently with concomitant changes in other practices. That's more important. That is where this speech is going to be concerned. What are the concomitant changes in other practices? We are changing irrigation to drip irrigation. We are changing fertilization to soil to fertigation. Along with that, if we make few more changes in the crop management, you will actually get into new methods of horticulture cropping or agriculture cropping. We can have developing small-scale water sources, small farms. Many places farmer cannot irrigate because he doesn't have a water source. Creating a water source for him by rainwater harvest or by bringing about 2 or 3 poor borewells into one source to make it better, like that. The improved HYV hybrid seeds or variety seeds of the crop. This is another concomitant changes which you can bring in. Improved seed bed and soil management. I will be talking about that. Use of biotechnology tools. I'll be definitely talking about it. Biotechnology tools, tissue culture, gene transfer, and production of planting material. You get a high quality planting material. So if you have a high quality planting material with some associated agronomy changes, you are getting higher yield and quality. That's what it is. Altering crop geometry and spacing. We will see that a lot. Using high efficiency fertilizer and pesticides. That is another way of increasing efficiency. Practicing mixed cropping, intercrop rotation using drip. Basically to maximum utilize the land surface. If somebody has got only 10 cents of land, he can produce more than what he is doing now. He may have only one coconut tree standing in the 10 cents. We will change that. That's the idea. Practicing mixed crop, that's more than one crop in one location, once in one field. Intercrop, 2 crops sown same time, can be harvested at different times, but growing together. Rotation, 1 crop after the other, etc. Improving post-harvest practice. That's another important thing. We are very good in producing high yields, and also we are very good in India in wasting during the produce during the harvest and post-harvest processes. So that also have to be concomitantly improved to get the best benefit. That's the point. Now, these are the different models of drip irrigation. The first one on the left side is the normal drip irrigation, which you see on the surface, where the water is delivered close to the plants, pumped from a well or a river, filtered, and the fertilizer which is injected. On the right hand side, you see the same thing, but there's no pump. The pump here is actually The first one, the pump is either a diesel pump or electric pump. The second one, solar energy supplement. Solar energy runs the pump. So it's called solar drip system. Then we have, this is for small plots, 1 acre, 2 acre, 10 acre, 20 acre, like that. Then we have a huge projects like covering about 1 or 2 or 3 villages. This is actually 4 villages, Ramdal project in Karnataka, North Karnataka. We have taken 14,800 or so acre, having something like about 1,000 farmers, and each will get his share of water, and the crop will be monitored, etc., etc. It's a large project. There are also drip irrigation works in large projects, and the latest is actually the IoT-based smart irrigation project. It's nothing but drip irrigation only, either surface or subsurface, but the control of the dripping time is not in the hands of the farmer or the operator, but the actual measured soil water status. I'll go a bit more detail as I go in there. These are the different models of drip irrigation as currently practiced in India. Now, this is the sensor-based control. I would ask you to look at the top picture, where actually it's a tea garden in Ooty, and we have kept 2 places soil sensors, soil moisture sensors, which are connected to via a cable to a remote sensor, a remote messaging unit, which will give the guidance to the pump to start or to stop. Okay, now forget about that. What the top? You look at the top picture, the bottom picture, which is a result of that. Here you can see a needle, just like in the car, what you see the odometer, or in a scooter. You will see that there is something written 0, 25, 50, 75, and 100. Different colors are there. Basically, that is the soil water content. Okay. Now, at the moment, the blue needle is actually on 75. In other words, it was raining when we were monitoring this. So the soil has sufficient moisture, almost 75%. So what happened was that the soil moisture is in the red. It means sufficient moisture, more than sufficient is available, so that the system will be shut. It will not open. The moment the needle moves back, in other words, soil started drying, and the sensors feel that the moisture is becoming less and less. It reaches below 25, or maybe between 0 and 25 a point. Then automatically this gives the sensor will give a message to the system which is sitting in the shed to start the pump. What it says is that, here, look here, the soil moisture has come down to very low. Now the tea plants will not have enough moisture to absorb. So you start the irrigation. That's what it is. So this is not human controlled, but our knowledge is there to decide when tea plants will start suffering from dryness in the soil, and when tea plants will have excess moisture, and when to stop it. So once we have those 2 points, we program it, and this needle is only for you to understand. This is happening from a low moisture to a higher moisture, the soil goes up. When it comes to the low, the pumps will start. When it comes to the high moisture situation, the pumps will automatically be closed. So this is the sensor based. In other words, what people talk about IoT based irrigation. Now we also create farm ponds, etc., for farmers to understand, to have irrigation, either partial irrigation or full irrigation. Now, or solar powered irrigation. These are farmers' field. The farmers are actually using solar panels to pump water. It's been there quite a bit, and Rajasthan is one state which has got the highest number. Second highest is Maharashtra. Now, micro irrigation applications, the challenge is actually declining water resource and acute power shortage. Both the side, the power side as well as water source, India is very poorly affected, very badly affected. So we have to have micro irrigation that conserves water as well as power, and also improving productivity. And now this is the result is that with the advent of micro irrigation, with all these, whether you use solar power or diesel power or petrol or whatever, or electricity, you have creating innovative crop cultivation packages in addition to that, so that you get the highest possible benefit. That's what it is. So basically, the blue line in the top shows that how the soil moisture behaves in a flood irrigated or a conventionally irrigated field. Very high, about 25%. Within about 8 days, it dries up to 5%. And then you are irrigating on the 8th or 9th day, then it shoots up again. So you get a zigzagging. Because of zigzagging, most of the crops will go through a cyclic phenomenon of very low water in the soil, that means dryness, and very high water in the soil, which means waterlogging. Waterlogging is equally bad. Some crops will die if the water stands in the field for more than 5 or 6 days. So that is very bad. The pink line shows the way moisture is going to be controlled by drip irrigation. And when you do that, you get the highest yield, which the last time also I explained. Now, some of the crops I take and see how new technologies have been developed, and then how that resulted in higher productivity and quality. Now, let us take onion. The picture on the left side will show you how onion was planted, used to be planted. And you have very low population of onion, because on this figure, if you look at it, almost the 66% of the land is used for flowing water, so that onions will get water. And the balanced land, very little land, is actually utilized for planting onions. We changed that. When we had drip irrigation, one drip line can do about 1 meter wide or 1.2 meter wide bed. And depending upon the soil, in some soils, you need 2 drip lines, obviously. And in this case, one soil is black, it is clay soil, so spreading is very good. And you are creating more onion plants to stand. Here, onion plants are there everywhere. Very little land is wasted. And the difference is, in the first one, where you get about 5 to 6 tons per acre, and the second one, you get about 12 to 17 tons per acre onion. That's more important. There are more plants there. In the first one, you get about 66,000 plants per acre. The second one, it is 2.5 lakhs per acre. So this is one clear method where, with the advent of drip irrigation and very intelligent way of changing the agronomy. We didn't plan the previous way, the way in the left-hand diagram. We don't need to. We do it on the right-hand way. The way you can have more plants, so you get more onions. Now, this what are the changes, agronomic interventions done? We see it, of course. Instead of buying, you can get elite seed from seed companies, good seed. Planting method, you can change a ridge and furrow instead of raised bed and planting. Irrigation, flood, you remove to drip. You have fertilizer application, you are throwing into the air, fertilizer, so that's called broadcasting, which you change to fertigation. And you get good agronomy support to the farmers to talk to them how this will work and make them understand. Now, those things have actually taken India far ahead of. Now, most farmers now understand it very well. And of course, including disease pest management, post-harvest, everything we give advice. And so that's why the onion, we are getting so high. Now, the challenge was onion low solid content in available white onion varieties. And then you had to get low productivity solution, increase solid content by breeding, enhancing yield through precision agronomy. All this has been done. So when you did that, the result is high bulb yield, high total solubles, low sugar, reducing sugar, better white color. I mean, color, of course, is if you change the variety, the color also disappears. You get into a pinkish or a brown onion, or different colors are there. Here, that's what it is. The total solid content increased. Indian onions used to be having very low solid content. That's why they were of low value. The quality improved when the solid content increased. You can see the high solid content, which comes about 16 to 18%. Originally, it was only about 10 to 12%. Now, yield increased to, as I was saying, about up to 14 tons per acre is here in the yield, which was originally less than 5, maybe maximum 6 tons. So all this happened because, along with the drip irrigation fertigation, we could change the agronomy and the way crop packaging is done, crop cultivation packaging is done. Now, what are the science behind it? Worked. That's what also people should understand. We learn science in different compartments, but when you come to crop management in the field, an agronomist should use our different knowledges available in all aspects of science. We have used horticulture knowledge, plant breeding, tissue culture science, plant pathology, biochemistry, seed production technology, agronomy, and post-harvest management, all that. Now we have a mango. You have a long gestation period for mango. After planting mango, usually it takes about 10, 12 or 15 years for getting the first mango fruit on the tree, but that has changed now. Alternate year bearing habit is there in some cases. Yes, this year mango will come. Alfonso traditionally is an alternate bearing. You get in 1922, you don't get a fruit in 2023. Then you get in 2024, like that. That habit also changed. The solution was ultra high density plantation and appropriate canopy management. That's a technology which was applied along with the drip and fertigation, of course. When we did that, we happened to flower and fruit before third year. Third year, actually, we harvested. Regular bearing happened and very high stable yields fourth year. Now you'll see this is the way the trees were managed from the early age. From the 3 months old grafted seedlings, we started creating a canopy for that by certain operations. And you end up like this. This flowering occurred in 2 year, 11-month-old trees with that, so that you get early flowering, early fruiting, and then you get you can see third year highest yield. Third year was about 9 tons per acre. In the fourth year, in the next year, you got it, which means a very low gestation period. It's not 12 to 14 years or 15 years to wait for a tree to yield. It started yielding in the before third year, and fourth, fifth, by fifth it becomes steady, and also yields are higher. Now here, what other things worked? Horticulture and pomology. Pomology is fruit science, grafting and nursery management of those mango saplings. Crop architecture is changed by canopy management, timely kind of pruning. The biochemistry, use of biochemistry to understand certain hormonal reactions and what time this should be done, etc. Agronomy, of course, the planting pattern itself is agronomy by close planting. Instead of having 40 trees per acre, 674 trees were planted in per acre. That is itself is agronomy change. Post-harvest management of fruits, of course. Now, next one is banana. In banana, a lot of things happen. The banana, of course, some poor low-yielding varieties which have taken long time has been changed. I just given one example of the development of granine variety here. We have done tissue culture on that. Tissue culture plants, when it is given to the farmers, which is secondary hardened plant, which you can see as I was moving the arrow. This is the stage it is given. From this to 8 to 9 months, it will have a bunch ready. But normal time, it will take 12 months to 13 months. That's one. So time for fruiting has reduced. Yield has improved. I'll show you how this has happened in the next few slides. Very high adoption of this variety has happened in India throughout, and improved agronomy also. The variety goes with the agronomy. Introduction of new variety, quality, disease-free, virus-free planting materials, so tissue culture plants, training and extension of high-tech cultivation practices. A lot of training has to be done on farmers who understand. For example, let's just say one example. Farmers tend to stop applying fertilizer the time they see the flag leaf. The flag leaf is the last leaf before the flower comes out in banana, like other crops. So most of all the fertilizer is applied before that in the traditional cultivation. But in our case, in this new technology, only after the bunch comes out and open, we start applying potassium. And most of the fertilizer is applied after the bunch comes out, after the initial push by phosphate and nitrate to get bigger bunches. So a lot of things have changed. These, whatever changes were made, were trained to the farmers. Now the farmers also know. For example, here you can see the left-hand side picture shows the drip irrigated, just planted tissue culture plants, which is done in the furrows and the bed. Later, the soil will be moved from the bed to the furrow, and it becomes a reverse actually. That as the crop grows. Now, another technology on the left, next picture, central picture, what you see is the mulching is done. Many places, mulching is practiced and banana is planted in holes on the plastic mulch, which helps some moisture conservation, avoids weeds, and then is good for water management and a lot of other characters. And it helps in the correct microbial balance in the soil. And then the last on the top is actually in very hot climate, you have to plant the young tissue culture plants. So there's a type of protection, what you see all around the plant. They have given some. These are our farmers' intervention also, not only ours. Farmer also work with us, and then we find solutions, common solutions. And the lower picture one on the left will show you the mulched trees when they are about get the fruits. And of course, fruits, uniform bunches will form. The uniformity is because tissue culture plants are of same age. And if you give uniform agronomy, water and fertilizer and all that, they will fruit on the same time. At the same time, they will mature also on the same way. More or less, all the fruits will have the same, fruit bunches will have the same size, number of hands. That's what the science is. Now, we have been doing that till 2013 itself. We have done about 4,000 acre, and now it's something more than 100,000 150,000 acre tissue culture. Not only one variety, grandine I'm talking about. We have supplied Nendrens and several specific varieties of Tamil Nadu, for example, Elaki and etc. are developed in this. When Nendran was developed in tissue culture, there was a lot of hue and cry that cannot be done and all that, but now farmers are growing it. So that here the planting material is developed, quality planting material is developed and produced every year to give the farmers. Agronomy is changed, planting spacing is changed, irrigation, fertigation method is developed, and then additional things like heat protection and mulching, etc. is formed. And then we have a regular, steady cultivation steps for the bunch management, so they get high quality bunches for the market. Horticulture, biotechnology, tissue culture science, virology, virus-free. These plants are virus-free. Agronomy and POSA. These are the areas where it was working. Now we have pomegranate, which is devastation of plantation due to bacterial blight is the major issue. Total crop. Here also again, disease-free, tissue-generated tissue culture plants are produced. Previously, they were using gooties, that is produced from the stem of branches of the existing diseased plants. You get a new plant, and the new plant will carry the disease. That's why the disease used to spread from one state to the other. For example, from Maharashtra, it spread to Gujarat, it spread to Karnataka and all that. This is all past story. Now, when you have hygienically produced tissue culture plants, you don't have that issue. You'll see that this is what the bacterial blight used to be, and the fruit has no value, no market value. Nobody will buy. While on the right side, the disease-free, well-colored, developed, good fruits with the drip and fertigation tissue culture. Now, these are the disease-free tissue culture plants. About 100,000 acres are already covered under tissue culture pomegranates in the last 10 years. Horticulture, biotechnology, tissue culture science, pathology, agronomy, crop architecture. That is how you do the pruning and all that. That's what are the science parts which work. Now, coming to from horticulture, I'm taking you to agriculture, very important commercial agriculture crop, sugarcane. This is the flow irrigated crop. Again, a lot of land is used for spreading water. And this is the surface drip irrigated crop and the subsurface drip irrigated crop. This is where the technology has gone far ahead. The result is that in the first one, you get about 28 tons per acre. In the first and second and third one, you can harvest up to 100 tons per acre. Not only I'm just making up and saying, so many farmers across states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Gujarat have already experienced this. And now we are putting this technology into test in North Indian states, where also we are 80 to 100 tons are possible, and farmers are harvesting that. Now here, a lot of study has been done on how the different soil types differ. Light soil, you have sugarcane, you can have in medium soil, you can have in heavy clay soil. In both cases, you have to keep changing the row width of that is plant to plant, plant row to plant row width of the sugarcane to allow sugarcane to harvest complete 100% sunlight. Otherwise, they will mutually share it. This is the principle. So, for example, if light soil with a soil depth of 1.5 feet, you give a drip distance of 30 centimeter, okay, and then row to row will be about 4 feet, 1.2 meter. And then slightly medium soil, you can increase the row width. You still get a higher population of tillers. Tiller is actually harvestable stem. Distance will be 4.5 feet. And if it's heavy soil, like thing, you can have the moisture may move down less, but it spreads more. So you can even have 5 feet row spacing of sugarcane. So all these studies of changing management of soil, planting pattern, space, etc., all came along with the advent of drip irrigation, fertigation. For example, surface drip irrigation, 2 rows on either side. Subsurface drip irrigation, where the drip line is below the ground, again 2 rows on either side. Now you can see surface drip plot, large plot with the drip line in the middle and 2 rows, and then subsurface SDI called subsurface drip irrigation. And the last picture on that top just shows how it's aligned. The drip line is below the ground, about 15 centimeter below 10 to 15 centimeter below the ground, and on either side the sets are planted. Just exposed to take the picture to show people what it is. And you see that clean cultivation on the left side, but you see sugarcane about 2.5 months old sugarcane, and you have no grass. You can do a lot of mechanized management. And then the next is to show you the last 2 pictures are the stems, the sugarcane stems. And we have not only done in India, I've taken this technology to countries wherever it is required. We have done it in Brazil, large projects about 3,000 hectare. Again, here IoT-based irrigation system, totally automated. Large systems are, because there most of the sugar mills have got a large acreage, so 3,000, 4,000 hectare together. So it become a large project where drip irrigation has helped. There also we got 100 to 120 tons per acre, and everybody is happy about it. Wheat, you may not have realized that wheat requires water to grow. And in fact, wheat and rice requires same volume of water, but rice by mistake, it has been flooded and standing water is practiced. So that's why it's getting, we'll talk about that also. Wheat is another crop where we change the agronomy of the planting, either a bed and furrow or a ridge and furrow. You can see bed and furrow on the left-hand side, and then with the drip irrigation and fertigation grows. Pigeon pea and chickpeas. These are two crops which is very essential for India to increase production, because pulses are the crops every year we have to import. There are more dal eaters in India than the dal that we can produce. So we are importing from Kenya. Indian community in Kenya produces dal and sell to India back. We are buying oilseed from Canada, for example, like that. So we have to increase the production. Production increase comes from manipulating irrigation with the drip, as well as changing the planting pattern. That's what in both cases, pigeon pea on the left-hand side, the yellow flower, and the right-hand side, the chickpea, which you can see. The basically idea is that the entire land will have chickpea plants more than what farmers usually practice it. So the yield goes up. This is another very interesting thing. We have done ultra high density plantation of apples. Of course, we cannot do apple in South India or in Central India. So this is done in Jain, Shalimar. We worked with Shalimar University, and you can see on the left-hand side, actually our first fruiting happens in the closely planted apple trees. On the picture on your left with the snow is the same plants before this flowering happened. All the apple trees undergoes a frozen stage where snow falls in, frost damage comes in, all the leaves were shed, and then they recover later. And that is a requirement for apple to have the freezing is a requirement for apple to flower. Once the freezing is taken, the flower will start coming. And that's why I put two photos of the identical rows. You can see. Even here, we could do ultra high density plantation, more apple trees per acre, more apple yield. And because it's on the first and second year of the fruiting, we had to wait for maybe 3rd and 4th year to find out what is the final yield. Other Indian apples are very low yielding with the conventional technology, hardly 10 tons per acre, etc. But there are, in the world, it is 40 to 50 tons per acre. So we are trying to get into that point. Maize is another crop. Usually 2 rows, 33,000 plants. See, in maize, if it is a single cob plant variety, single cob means 1 fruit per plant. You get only 33,000 cobs. You cannot increase the yield at all. But with a drip, we can do, where I try to plant 3 rows actually on 1 drip line. That is, you can see 3 plants on the into the front page if you really look at it. So that increase about 44,000 plants. So that's one way of increasing yield. With the plants are very healthy, even though there are 3 in a row. 3 rows are there on each drip line with fertigation, and you could increase the yield. Okay, now we have rice production. Rice is the next crop where we tried all this technology. You can see that yield has gone up from flood. It is about 3.1 ton, and the drip gives 3.8 and 22.5% increase in yield. And water use has come down drastically, 66%. You don't have flooding anytime. And then power use also, about 52% saving. So this is, rice become more economical now. Now, this is what it is, revolutionized rice cultivation through drip irrigation. It consumes about 9.5 million liters of water in an acre of land for about 4 months rice, or 3 months and 20 days to 4 months period. While with the drip irrigation, you use only 3.2 million. By the way, 1 million is 10 lakhs. So 95 million is actually 9.5 million is actually 95 lakhs liter of water. That's much water is actually used by rice. Farmers use more than that actually. Is our measured quantity. So you substantially you reduce it. So the pumping energy also you reduced. So it gives you higher productivity and low water use. Now, this is what it is. You are getting more kilogram of grain per meter cube of water. 1 meter cube is 1,000 liters. So in the flood situation, you get only 100 and just about 100 gram paddy grain, or maybe 150. In the SRI, this is a method available by several farmers, several scientists practice this, but there's no drip irrigation. This in the SRI with alternate wetting and drying, you get about 450 to 480 gram, but with the drip gives you 550, sometimes up to 580 grams per 1,000 liter of water. You totally increase the water productivity. Now the science sector, agronomy and water management, soil physics, soil management, micro irrigation, fertigation science, and weed management. That's what we practice in that. Now the precision farming, usually we work with a large number, 2.8, now it's about more than 3.5 million farmers, small farmers. We work with this different technology. I've just picked up only very few crops just to show you how it is. There are many other, lots of vegetable crops. We made changes like that, including plantation crops like coffee, cardamom, tea, etc. We made changes. Oil palms, coconuts, arecanuts, everything. Pineapple, for example. But I don't have time to go into all those details now. Technology adoption enhances their livelihood, and we are actually focusing on small farmer, because if they are large in number, so their collective productivity is far higher than very few of the so-called landholders, high landholders. So we don't have these high landholders, whether they accept technology, they can afford it, or it's different. But with the help of the government subsidizing the cost of the drip irrigation, fertigation, and our voluntary help, farmers, we don't charge anything for the technology we are providing them. That's more important. Our system is there in the farmer's field because we are indebted to him to help him with the technology, the changing in the planting pattern, the soil management, the fertilizer management, etc. That advice and on-site technical help is free of cost for him. We do this, leave this world better than you found it. That's what our objective is, the company's objective is. Now, this shows you the result of a number of crops, rice, wheat, maize. What I have done is actually I have taken the incomes and using the net income, I worked out the benefit cost ratio. That's what you see. Rice, because the narrow rice yield increase is happening, about 500 kilogram to 600 kilogram only rice increase is happening to the technology. So it's 1.6, wheat 2.3. In other words, what it means is that a wheat farmer investing 1 rupee will get a 2.3 rupees back. That's the meaning, that's the economic meaning of this analysis. Many of you may understand that also. While fruit crops will have, coconut will have 6.33, very high changes. You can make it. Oil palm 3.35. Similarly, you have groundnut, you can make double. Soybean, then you have a whole lot of vegetables. Papaya is very, very wonderful crop for this sort of technology adoption. You can mango 5.1 after 3 years, papaya 4.2, like that. Now the time is also given for, and then where this data is, all these are farmers' data. I work with the farmers' data I collect very religiously. And if you look at the states, which is on the last, you can see all across India, any state where is possible. And this is our objective of the Jain development model. We create technology packages, first thing, high-tech agriculture inputs. Then we ourselves test it out in our R&D. I'll show you a bit of an R&D also first. And then we provide them to farmers along with the drip irrigation or fertigation technology packages for the crop. And then those farmers are buying tissue culture plants. We also get the planting material from our side. So that they can, the moment they get the planting material and the drip technology in their farm, the rest is ours. Job to tell them how to go about it. We have trained, the training, it's a huge practice. So you can see here, we do research. Before that, we hand over the technology to the Jain, highly focused research. We do in our own farm. We do collaborative research. As you can see, 17 Indian agriculture universities research. We collaborate. We also collaborate with institutions like IRI, International Rice Research Institute, CIMMIT, the Wheat Institute, IMI, the Water Management and Ecosite, because that is in Hyderabad. I mean, the institute where I came from to Jain. Joint research and agriculture in other companies, seed companies, fertilizer companies also. We work with them. And expert scientists, in the public system also, which is university professors, so that we work with them. And then we also fund sometimes masters and doctoral students to carry out research. So the idea is that with the change agronomy and the change cultivation practices from the traditional, with the catalytic force from the drip and micro irrigation systems, we can change the way farmers get yield and incomes for a variety of crops. Actually, I have worked about 63 crops, and I cannot talk about 63 crops in this half hour. Training, you can see in the field, on-field training and classroom training, etc. Maybe wherever we are probably, I've been personally doing this training for the last 35 years now. And then now there are a lot of young agronomists are working in different states, because training, we insist that in Karnataka, a Kannada speaking trainer should be there, because that's easy to convey to the farmer. Like in Punjab, it should be a Punjabi speaking trainer. That's what we identify. We train them, and then they train the farmers in. And they are also classroom training. In the last 25 years, we probably have done about 3.5 million farmers training. Thank you. What I wanted to tell you is that drip irrigation, the method, the physical system which you buy from a supplier, is just a system to provide you water and fertilizer. But how you manage them with a changing crop agronomy is more important to get the best result in terms of yield and income for the farmer, as well as quality of the food you produce. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Soman, for a very detailed presentation. Now we'll take up a few questions. Okay, so the first question is from Mr. Mohan Rao. He is asking, best suitable lands for horticulture.
Can you speak louder?
Yeah, one second.
I only get some voice coming. I don't get the distinctive words from your.
Okay. The first question is from Mr. Mohan Rao. The question is as follows: best suitable lands for horticulture.
Every land is suitable for horticulture. Depends upon which crop of horticulture you want to plant. That depends upon not the land actually. It is the climate more important. Land everywhere you can grow. Why we cannot grow on the top of the Himalayas is because the climate of Himalayas doesn't allow anything to grow. That's what it is. Similarly, on the banks of Visakhapatnam, where the saline water of the sea comes and touches the soil, we cannot grow anything because the salinity of the soil. If that is removed, if the salinity can be removed, you can grow there also. So it is not land which decides, it is the climate. And also because there are multitude of horticulture crops, you can select a crop which is suitable. That is how we approach the system.
Okay. Sir, can you stop?
Mr. Mohan Rao can tell you what he wants to grow, then I can tell him where it can be grown. Or if Mr. Mohan Rao says, I am from such and such place, I have this particular type of soil in my farm, then I can tell him what crop he can grow. Both ways it works.
Yeah, okay. So I think he's answering almost the same this thing which you have asked for. I'm just reading out. He says, Dr. Sonam, for dry lands where no underground water and we can't put boats, then how come we utilize drip irrigations for fruits and vegetables? All we have to depend is rainwater. He's asking, all we have to depend is rainwater.
Okay, if he has a rainwater dependence, either he can do, you have to harvest rain and store. This is not a magic. This has been practiced by thousands of farmers in Aurangabad, for example, in Jalna, for example, all are dry districts. In Beed district of Maharashtra, I have personal experience. And these people grow oranges. These people grow tomatoes. They grow mangoes. When during the time of irrigation, and if it falls into the summer season, they would have stored enough rainwater for that. That is why I mentioned in my first few slides, we also advise them on rainwater harvesting. That is the only way to do it. If you don't have groundwater as for borewell.
Okay, so he's mentioning temperature for throughout year is 27 at least and 31 maximum. And he says, I am interested for Caribbean lands.
Sorry, he's interested in what?
Caribbean Islands. Caribbean Islands.
Caribbean, I don't know what it means. Caribbean.
Place,
Caribbean
yeah.
islands is in the near USA. It's
Yes,
called
yes.
Java. The Cuba and all that is located. That's what Caribbean islands means.
Yes, correct. He is saying he is interested to know these details for this
Why he
place.
wants? Is he in India or is in Caribbean islands?
Mr. Mohan,
Well,
can you
he
clarify on
wants to
this?
grow these what crops he can grow in Caribbean islands. That's what his question is.
Yeah. Mr. Mohan, can you please clarify on this? Yeah, till he puts his question, I'll take up next question. So yeah, next question is, in irrigation industry today, what would you say are some of the cutting edge research frontiers?
In irrigation, of course, now the latest which is now practiced is the sensor based, which is more accurate way of previously when we are irrigating a crop through drip irrigation, we estimate based on the evaporation of the location how much water the farmer should apply for his wheat crop, rice crop, or mango crop. And then based on that estimate has got a disadvantage. The estimate is based on the past data of evaporation. Okay, always water requirement is based on evaporation data of the past. We don't know anything about the future. It can change. But now current data on a day-to-day basis, when the soil moisture changes, we can have a sensor. And then I explained that when I was talking about IoT based irrigation system. That is the latest running on that.
Okay. Yeah. So Mr. Mohan has mentioned he is currently located in Caribbean Islands.
Yeah. You see, the interesting thing is that in Caribbean Islands, what does he want to grow? They grow mangoes. I know that because some people used to contact me from there also. They can grow banana. It's a wonderful crop there. In fact, they export. And some of the US intake of banana comes from those places. And because the islands, we have a difference. In islands, what happens is that because the sea is surrounded everywhere close by and the land surface is limited compared to the sea surface, you will get always a climate of humidity. So all humidity loving crops like banana, like partly saying some varieties of mango, coconuts, etc. can be grown there. You will not be able to grow, for example, successfully citrus fruits, oranges and all that, because they don't like humidity. You will not be able to grow pomegranate, for example. Pomegranate hates humidity. That is why you cannot grow pomegranate in Goa and Kerala, while pomegranate performs very well in Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Rajasthan, and central Indian state, Madhya Pradesh. So there are a lot of such things. So I'm just giving you, if he can give more on the actual weather for 12-month period, for where he is located, then I can be more specific on the crops. My answer of these crops, which I select, the banana, etc., is based on general experience and knowledge.
Okay. And next question is, sir, can you please stop sharing the screen and on your video if possible?
All right, let me just go and stop.
Click on that green button, stop sharing screen. Yeah.
Yeah, it is not sharing anymore.
Yeah, sharing is not there. Is it possible you can on the video?
Sorry?
You can on your video if it is possible.
Yes, only thing I can see only a small speck of me.
Right. Yeah, I can see.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Next question is, what advice can you give for a farmer wanting to install drip irrigation for his mango farm?
What advice he has to? He has to contact either in his village or in the nearby village if there is a drip dealer. Usually companies providing drip irrigation systems will appoint dealers of the same locality so that they can converse with the farm. Or if he can send me his phone number and location, I can ask a Jain irrigation engineer to contact him, vice versa. That is the starting point. Then he must, if he wants government assistance for that, state to state, there is a variation. Now in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, there's no subsidy. Government stopped that actually totally. Karnataka, it is still there. Maharashtra, it is still there. I don't know where he's talking to me from. So that advice, etc., our engineer can provide, provided he gives a phone number and a contact. Then we can, or he goes to a nearest drip irrigation or a pump dealer and ask him to find out where he is. There are two options. That is how to start with.
Okay. Mr. Mohan again says, only for vegetables and fruits, as we are importing almost all vegetables. We are importing from USA, etc. countries, and a question mark. Mr. Mohan, your question is not so clear. Can you just rephrase it? And in the meantime, I'll go to next question. Most farmers do not know anything about drip irrigation. They just listen to what the dealer says. Do you think this is the right way for a farmer to get knowledge on
I
drip
want to know
irrigation?
where is this person asked this question, and which village, district, state he is located?
Actually, that's not mentioned, sir.
Yeah,
So,
unless that, then how do
yeah.
I know that? See, I've been in this field for the last 35, actually 38 years. Initially, it used to be very difficult in the early years of 90s, etc. Talk. But now, if I travel in Karnataka, I travel in Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and all the most farmers in most of the village, even the remotest villages, they know about drip irrigation. It's a total change. It is not that we created the change. Along with us, the government schemes also, government people also created a lot of change. And the awareness of this is far more in southern Indian states and central Indian states like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, and Gujarat than in probably UP, Bihar, and all that. So that's why I asked, where is he speaking from? Awareness and the knowledge about drip irrigation is very much there in the villages now. I'm not defending anybody. If he is coming from a very remote place where nobody has gone, he may be right. He may not know, but he cannot generalize it, saying the farmer's knowledge is less. That's what I'm answering.
Okay. Next question. Yeah. So, yeah, in my farm, the drip pipes have been punctured by peacocks.
Sorry, again,
Now,
your voice is breaking. I cannot hear
1 second. Yeah. In my farm, the drip pipes have been punctured by peacocks. Now, lot of manual work is needed to fix these repairs. Is
How
there
are
any
they
way
punctured?
by peacocks?
By?
Peacocks.
Yeah, he has to protect it. Easy way to protect it, just bury the drip lines at least 10 centimeters below the soil, so peacock will not attack them. Just bury it. Nothing will happen to the lines. He has to protect, or ward off the peacocks. No, I'm not asking that as a funny answer. Just protect the drip lines. Protection is a very simple. If you buy a car or a bicycle, you will protect your vehicle, correct? You will protect. If there is a puncture in the bicycle, you will immediately go and do puncture repair of his car. You will not leave your car or puncture thing right on the roadside and get damaged by passing vehicles or passing cattle. And then you cry to the car company or whoever your car is bad. That is the sort of level. If the drip irrigation, whether you buy fully at your cost or subsidized by the farmer, by the government, it is the property of the farmer. And the protection of that is his responsibility. And I have given some methods of protecting it. Bury it 10 centimeters below the soil.
Okay. Mr. Mohan has rephrased. He says, I am interested to go for only vegetables and fruits, as we are importing almost all varieties of vegetables. And he says we are importing from USA, etc. countries. Mr. Mohan, again, your question is not so clear.
I understood his question. I will
Okay.
explain to you what his question is first. What he's saying is that in his lookout, Caribbean islands import vegetables and fruits from USA, mainly from USA and other countries also. So there will be an outflow of dollar from their countries to USA. Instead of that, if they have, they can develop vegetables or fruits in their own country, this can be stopped and they can have self-sufficiency. Yes, please go ahead. Which vegetable you want to grow? Starting from yams to taro to tomatoes, brinjals, okra, beans, soybean, everything can be grown in those places where you are. So only the question is that you have to start it. That's the problem. It's a starting trouble. People always, they make complaints. Oh, I'm buying this. Why I'm buying from Russia or buying. You try to grow it yourself. In India, we grow avocados, for your information. Avocado is now I'm recommending avocados to many places in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, in Assam, for example. Okay, now avocado is not used to be an imported crop in India for about 10 years back. Now there are a lot of Indian produced avocados are available. Just one example I'm giving you. Okay, so it is a question of that you have to start yourself. Knowledge, technology we can provide, but the initiative should come from the grower or the farmer.
Okay, yeah. So Mr. Mohan agrees to this. And now we have last two questions. In the future, with climate change happening, do you think our irrigation technology will change?
This is the irrigation technology best suited for climate change. If I had been given another 20 minutes, I can explain that in a very scientific way, but I don't have the time. So, okay, because science and research is never ending, you may get a more precise, more probably more accurate way of irrigating a system and a technology later, maybe in 10, 20 years time. Nobody's stopping, because in 1980s, Indians were not drip irrigating. India, it started in 1988 actually. There were people coming and selling drip irrigation, people never understood it. But now, India has the largest area in the world under drip irrigation, for your information. So time changes. The technology was at that time looked at with suspicion. Now the technology of drip irrigation is looked at with acceptance. That's a change, because people knew more about it. Like that, it will change. So this is not the ultimate. As it stands today, on 10th of January 2023, drip irrigation is the best method warding off or reducing the effect of climate change.
Okay. So now we have the last question. As an agronomist at Jain Irrigation, what exactly are your activities?
Fantastic. I have various activities. Number one, meeting farmers, explaining to them about the technology, not only drip irrigation, the whole technology. And I have met thousands and thousands of farmers in my life for the last 24 years in general. Before that, I was in International Institute as a scientist. So farmer training, farmer support, and second part is developing new technologies, like you saw in mango, like you saw in rice. These are all I developed. And then with my help of my team, we spread it actually. So that's my second. Third one is that I work a lot in overseas, other countries outside India, like Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Philippines, and in the South America, Brazil, Mexico, and all these countries, and all countries in Africa. I travel quite a lot, and then where slowly different crop-related technologies are introduced, and farmers or governments accept them and then pass it on to their farmers. So that's I have a very wide job description that way. Research I do, development of new technologies I do, extension of the technology and understanding and training the farmers I do, and follow up with the farmer whether the technology is really understood by him and it is working for him. That's what I do.
Okay. Okay, sir, I don't see any more questions from our participants. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you for a very detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir. Thank you.